City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of your number one talk show, City Talks with Reuben Abati, on your number one lifestyle station, City 105.1 FM. On this show, we talk about stories of political and human interest that affect us as citizens of Nigeria and also as members of a global human community. Today, we'll be discussing the ex-service chiefs, the extension of the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, and national security issues in Nigeria. And to guide us through these three major topics, we have a special guest. It is with great pleasure that we have with us here today Chijioke Okoli, former chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, and founding partner and chief counsel, Delphi Law Advisory, and a senior advocate of Nigeria. Chijioke Alexander Okoli, SAN, is a 1987 graduate of the Faculty of Law, University of Jos. A recipient of 2 master's degrees, Okoli earned a Master of Laws LLM degree in Sports Law and Practice from De Montfort University, Leicester, England, and a Master of Science degree in Political Science from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. He was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1988 and is a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, United Kingdom. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. He is currently the principal partner and chief counsel in the law firm of Delphi Law Advisory, with offices in Lagos, Nnewi, and Abuja, as well as associated offices in London and New York. He was a pioneer general counsel for Team Nigeria at its inception with the 8th All-Africa Games 2003. And today, he continues to advise sports clubs and other sporting entities on local and transnational transactions, including the commercial aspects of football. He is the chairman of the Board of Governors Crest Football Academy in Lagos, and also the vice chairman of the Nigeria Olympic Committee Ethics and Good Governance Committee. He was team leader of the committee that drafted the Nigerian Sports Industry Policy 2020, under the auspices of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group and the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Okoli's other areas of professional concern outside the courtroom include the information technology interface with law, and he had, before now, also advised the Lagos State government on data protection law issues. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051, or you can leave comments on WhatsApp 090 991 64403, or on our social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom, Twitter, and Facebook. It is now with great pleasure that I welcome to this program Chijioke Okoli, SAN. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Okoli SAN, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Reuben. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Quickly, let's talk about the issue of the extension of tenure for the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu. There have been many opinions on this, and the key opinion is that what the president has done with the 3-month extension that he has granted is illegal and unconstitutional. But the Minister of Police Affairs says that the president has given that 3-month tenure extension to allow him to select the right person as successor to Muhammad Adamu as Inspector General of Police. What are your thoughts? Has the president done something that is illegal and unconstitutional?
Without beating about the bush at all, I share that opinion that what the president has done has no justification in law. Most importantly, nor does it have in a policy and good order for starters. Whether you call it extension or not, it is in real terms. It is in real terms is an appointment. An appointment, and to the extent that the Inspector General of Police has retired with information in the public domain from about the 2nd or 4th of February. That's when he automatically had retired. So he is, by the strict interpretation of the law, he is to be a police officer. And the law is very clear, the Police Act, that you can only appoint an IGP from a serving police officer. So somebody who's senior in office as a police officer has elapsed, the president had no business appointing him, call it whatever day, whether it's a pension or whatever. And the point initially that by asking him to stay beyond for his extension is in real terms in the nature of a reappointment. And he cannot appoint somebody whose tenure has expired. So that's my take. And then coming to the excuse, because that's what it is, given by the commissioner for the Minister for Police Affairs. It is, for want of a better expression, arrant nonsense to tell me that the thousands of senior police officers who they are privy to their application, to their CV. They need an extra 3 months to now find out the one who is sick. They can't put that to the Marines. It's total hogwash. And by the way, I am not aware that the president consulted with the police council, because in appointing an IGP, he is not alone to himself. There are also other institutions that need to be carried along. That is the Police Service Commission, the Council of State. All these are, where the state governors are also part and parcel of. We didn't hear that all these things, were done or complied with. And then we wake up one morning and we hear, the sort of thing that, that gets to see in banana republics. I'm sorry. That's what we're doing, because things have been done without any regard to extant laws. And what we just saw down is just one of those. The same way the president just fell and left the service chiefs well beyond their time, in my view, illegally, and also stopping the growth, legitimate aspirations of generations of army, of military officers, whose it was legitimate that some of them, when they got into, NDA, will have said, "Oh, I would like to be the chief of my arm of service." But you have certain generations that particular aspiration had been killed whimsically. We had Buratai and his people staying there, and then their juniors came up and were retired. Several generations of their own juniors, and that is something that appears to be, the sort of thing we're going to have now with the police. So it's illegal, unconstitutional, and beyond that, it's improper. That's my take.
Chijioke Okoli, SAN. Well, people who defend the president refer to a number of factors. One, they say there have been precedents. Take the service chiefs that were just replaced. Now, those service chiefs, they had their tenure also extended by the president, exercising his powers under Section 218 of the Constitution. Before President Buhari, we had in the past also a case of, I think it was Sunday Hidero, whose tenure as IGP was also extended at the time by President Obasanjo. Defenders of the president go for that to say that, okay, people have been quoting the Police Act, Section 18, Section 7. They are quoting parts of the Constitution 215, 216. But is it not the case that the Police Council that you refer to and the Police Service Commission, that these are strictly advisory bodies? When last did any police council sit to appoint the Inspector General of Police? And then if you look at the powers of the president, under that same constitution, Section 171, Section 315, they give him wide powers to exercise discretion in circumstances like this. What do you say to that defense?
For me, in what discretion, in what circumstances? Are we at war? Do we have a situation where, God forbid, maybe the days when Boko Haram was coming into Abuja, that you capacitate a huge number of top police officers? Things are, force majeure. Maybe something like this. He said, oh, can you beat that? That the people we have asked a short list of the people to take over, that the three of them suddenly were casualties in something. Yes, but you can't be exercising a discretion in a very normal situation where, there are laid down rules. And I will tell you that the overarching underpinning of the Constitution is to reduce whimsical exercise of power, to cut down the discretion. So you cannot have in normal times and then say you are extending it. Extending it to do what? Are they telling us that all of a sudden there are no police, something has happened that maybe some serious ailment or whatever had made these otherwise available people suddenly unavailable? So there's no discretion in this matter to warrant, in my view. There's no room for discretion. And like I said, going to the constitutional order, that where you have the police council being provided for, you can't take positions. The fact that Obasanjo did it, that something is a bad precedent does not mean that we continue following that bad precedent. The fact that Obasanjo did it does not justify any other subsequent president doing it. So if the president has gone to commit one egregious act of unconstitutionality and maybe got away with it, and then successors will say, after all, this person is akin to the sort of argument you have those who are challenging the FCC. They say, selective. That, it's like this other person was a thief. So does that justify your being a thief too? No. So the fact that Obasanjo, let's say for what breached the Constitution, does that justify Buhari? And nobody took him on that point. So until somebody would probably decide to pick it up, and then we have that is bold, not maybe students who would come under the categorization of Lord Dennis Timor souls to look the thing straight in the eye and say, hey, Mr. President, you are president under the law, because it is the law that says the presidency. The presidency did not drop from the skies like Odua. It is the law. So you must keep with the law. So, and then that's another point. I remember that my learned brother Femi Falana had made the point about how the governors were more or less sleeping on duty. If you look at the Constitution, with the absence of state police, the police serves a dual function in our federation. So when it is enforcing state laws, it is the state police, notionally. When it is enforcing federal laws, it is a federal agent. Yes, there's a couple of Supreme Court, Court of Appeal decisions that have drawn this very fine distinction. So to that extent, the police council, being where the governors are also there, the governors are sleeping on duty. Unless and until we get state police, they have to demand their own slice of the cake, so to speak, in the appointment and in having a say. The Constitution has created it. But like a lot of things, the Constitution is not self-executed. It is people who will say, no. Mr. President, this is not how it goes. Maybe an attorney general of one of the states would have a local standard and say no. Or maybe you appoint a particular person who they can point out that maybe he was commissioner of police in our state. We knew what happened. He was not fit. Then they will raise they will call for the police council. If probably that they can try litigation. So the fact that the police council has been comatose does not justify it continuing, going AWOL, so to speak. So all these things they don't wash. Obasanjo's transgressions, wouldn't justify a similar transgression by Muhammadu Buhari. Yeah.
But I also drew your attention to whether or not the president can seek justification under Section 171 of this same 1999 Constitution and under Section 315, which gives him wide powers in terms of how he modifies existing law to bring them in conformity with the 1999 Constitution. Would those two sections provide defense?
No, they don't. When you see, you can't just whimsically do that. The president has not told us, I'm exercising my powers under the relevant powers of the Constitution to bring it into what for Sarah. It's that way, Reuben. That's the most controversial field. That, for me, it's like maybe we've seen something analogous to the judiciary, where they say the court has power to the slip rule, so to speak. While they say it's okay, but maybe there's some little technical lacuna. Anything beyond that is an intrusion on the legislative function. So, because what it means is that the president just keeps struggling his feet. At the end of the day, we spend so much time and resources, as we know, too much to make a law, and then the president will say, "Oh, I'm trying to bring it in tune with what?" No, it can only be if it is anything beyond mere technical. Then it goes against a fundamental principle of constitutionalism. So that is not that what the president has done. And again, the president has not told us that, I'm expressing my power under Section 215 or which other section of the Constitution. By the way, we know its basic constitutional principle, separation of powers. So, and we must give that any interpretation of the Constitution must bear in mind, be actuated and driven by this overarching principle of separation of powers.
Yes, and there is no doubt that there are a number of jurisprudential issues, many of which we've already touched upon. But I think the consolation is that one lawyer has already gone to court in Abuja, the Federal High Court, to try to test all of these issues. We hope something will come out of it, and we hope it will not be the Nigerian way at the end of the day, where the president will have his way. But let's take a quick commercial break.
Let me just have a quick word on this.
Okay.
It seems to me that somebody has gone to court. You see, what I think should our understanding of law is that the trial High Court probably should, as the case stated, under the Constitution, project the Court of Appeal and probably the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court to answer questions of fundamental constitutional importance. And at that point, I think the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court should invite amnesty courier brief on this matter. So it's not something that you don't narrow down to the depth or limitations of the particular lawyer who had the president's mind to think. But in matters like this, they should ask for amnesty courier brief and probably ask that doyen of constitutional law in English-speaking world, Professor Madweze, to let us have his, amicus courier brief on the matter. Apart from other, scholars like Sagi and the rest. Yes.
I get your point, Okoli SAN, but let's take this commercial break, and then we'll come back to talk some more. Thank you for staying with us.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Welcome back to City Talks with Reuben Abati here on City 105.1 FM. And if you are just joining us, our guest today is Chijioke Okoli, SAN, former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, here in Lagos, and the Principal Counsel of Delphi Law Chambers here also in Lagos. Well, Chijioke Okoli has been discussing the extension of the tenure of the Inspector General of Police Nigeria by 3 months by the President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. And his position is that what the President has done is illegal and unconstitutional. But there are others who are seeking the interpretation of the basic, rules and issues. But Chijioke Okoli, SAN, thank you very much for staying with us. Very quickly, I would like to, ask you to comment on another issue. What's your take on the objections to the appointment of the former service chiefs as envoys by the President of Nigeria? He's forwarded their names to the Senate and is asking for expeditious consideration of their nomination. Is that within his powers to do, or the controversy that has generated is justified? And if so, why?
Now, it is completely within the president's powers to appoint people he feels like to be ambassadors. But then there are certain norms of international relations which come to play in this particular matter. Now, it's a matter in the public domain that there's been questions raised by people and these and institutions about the conduct of the service chiefs regarding prosecution of the insurgency wars and other things that's been done. I recollect easily the issue of Buratai with the Shiite members, and I do know that there are certain reports to the ICC. And indeed, some major Western powers had raised eyebrows about the conduct of some of these service chiefs. So to go ahead and appoint these people straight after when they should go and debrief them, I think it's improper. I'm not saying it is illegal, but it is improper. I'm talking about the propriety. And then particularly that these gentlemen have come to the international attention for wrong reasons. There have been complaints about war crimes against them. So, when you do things that is completely in defiance of global public opinion, I think that is not proper. And we don't have anything like the kind of clout to begin to do as it pleases us. That's the fact of life. We're not China. We're not United States of America. And I can tell you for free, I don't know where he wants to send these retired generals, but I will wager that Western nations in the EU and United States will not accept them as ambassadors. That much I can tell you for free.
Well,
not when there are investigations by ICC against them.
Well, a possible response to that would be that nobody in Nigeria has yet been indicted by the International Criminal Court, not even the heads of the security agencies. What the Special Prosecutor, Fatou Bensouda, has said in the preliminary report in December is that, yes, the investigation panel will go to the pre-trial council to see if they can get the mandate to start investigation in Nigeria. And that, as you very well know, could take a number of years. And that's how I would like to ask you, those who are saying that President Buhari has given them this, appointment in order to grant them diplomatic immunity. I mean, under the Rome Statute, would there be the application of diplomatic immunity to persons who have been accused of crimes against humanity? Hello? Are you with
Certainly.
me?
Hello?
Right.
Yes. Yes. Certainly, I can't claim expertise on public international law beyond the course I offered there in my undergraduate days. But I can tell you, with what I know, that it does not stop, it does not grant them any immunity. It doesn't.
About security in the country, because we've been talking about the Inspector General of Police, we've been talking about the former army and military service chiefs. Now, security remains a very serious problem in Nigeria. What else do you think that government should do? I know you say you are not a security expert, but the security crisis affects all of us. We have the proliferation of all kinds of groups, more or less usurping the functions of the security agencies. We even have a dramatic case in the southwest of Nigeria now, where an individual has become a police force unto himself. And that's Sunday Ugboho. And there are similar figures in other parts of the country. The Hisbah in the north, the Eastern Security Network, who have their own local heroes in the southeast. What exactly do we need to do? Is it a problem about personnel? And do you think that the change of service chiefs will help?
No, I'm not sure if the change of service chief it would help. There's a fundamental problem with the presidency, and this is the question of the security in the country has gone beyond political correctness. The presidency is, more or less providing corroboration for very weighty allegations being made by substantial people in this country. Beyond Obasanjo, I'm going in what is in the public domain. Danjuma, who more than anyone else, probably living or alive, personify the army institution in Nigeria. These two people are now coming to other politicians. These two people have had cause to pointedly accuse the presidency, who's in charge of the Nigerian army, of partiality. So, so when you have this perception, and it is not based on just nothing, these people are privy to information that is not out there. And you can't say they're responsible people, because these people have had so much to gain from this country and probably the most to lose if there's a problem. But for them to come out openly and accuse the army, in which they rose to the highest position and rank of full general, to say, no, you are siding with this ethnic militia. And then let's look at what is happening in the evidence. Rotimi Akeredolu says the unregistered herdsmen who have taken control of the forests and wreaking mayhem, murder, rape, total brigandage. Actually, that is terrorism. When you put people into so much fear of their life, that is terrorism. Now, had he finished that, and then Garba Shehu, speaking on behalf of some amorphous veiled presidency, now begins to join issues with him. Now, he said, no. That is a Fulani. No, the people, it is them who have given this ethnic coloration. The people said, the much I know this is, the people who are causing mayhem and we know they're in the forest, they should vacate. Then the presidency did not just wait for people to even assimilate what Governor Akeredolu has said, then he jumps into the fray. So unless and until you have this fundamental change in attitude, the forests in the southwest have become a no-go area. Somebody like me who likes to go by road, do my cases in Ibadan or in the east going by road, and people warn me. And I said, how can you be traveling by road? And then we have a presidency. Is it rocket science? And all this time that these headsmen who have been causing trouble, how many of them have been apprehended? Then when people take robust, responsive action, even by words, then you have the presidency coming to seemingly take sides. No, it cannot be. So there needs to be, it goes beyond the service chiefs. Again, Reuben, I am staying within things that are in the public domain. The Nigerian army has not refuted the allegation that is out there in the public domain some community in Ogun State said enough is enough. You cannot take your herds and come and eat up our crops and refuse. Then the army comes to force those people to allow those people to inside their forest and their farms. The Nigerian army has not debunked that allegation. So when you have all these stories all over the country, and then when the presidency seemingly cannot be trusted, you can change service chiefs all the time you like, unless and until you change the perception of the people. And then, Reuben, let me also tell you my own this about suggestion, what we're going to do. It is about time. I've said it even before issues got this bad. It is about time for the federal government to license people who are willing to acquire automatic rifles. The illiterate Fulani herdsman from Mali or wherever he has come from has his AK-47 that he has been using. No, we know these things because a lot of people, even the sad thing in this case is that our countrymen that we have lived with, whether Fulani that we love together, they don't have this bloodthirstiness. These are people who have been fighting. Even the president said it. These people have been fighting in the Sahel region. They came here. They kill without any compunction. So, but they're human beings. If they stop you and they have in the back of their minds that the people that stop him also be equally armed with AK-47, the level of brigandage we have will stop. Reuben, think about it. You, at your level, doctorate degree, holding important positions, you will not be allowed to hold a toy pistol. But then, one drug-addled brain in a Soleko who is doing this can have access to any sophisticated weapon. Some illiterate enforcer for some herds of cattle would have AK-47. You as a lawyer, senior journalist and everything, you won't. I think we should have a system where responsible people should be able to access arms, and there will also be very strict rules about usage. For example, any gun that is licensed to you, it is strict liability. If it's used to commit any offense, then you can go to jail or have serious. But we must have a system where upstanding, it has gotten to that stage. You stay in your house or you're going on the beach, you're so afraid.
Your recommendation is likely to be controversial. You know, a few days ago, the governor of Taraba State, Darius Ishaku, was making a similar suggestion. And some people have said, well, this will be a prescription for chaos. If you legalize access to semi-automatic weapons and automatic weapons in Nigeria, you could even have a situation worse than what you have in the United States, and the argument over gun control or the right to own a gun. But we have other people who have been listening to us, and I see that they would like to also either ask a question or make a comment or respond to some of the things you said. If you want to join us, you can reach us on 0700 1051 1051. On WhatsApp, 09099164403, or at City1051 on Zoom, Twitter, and Facebook. And our guest, as you know, of course, is Chijioke Okoli, SAN. We have our first caller on the line. Okay, there's nobody there yet. Okay. Well, while we are waiting for the first caller or the first commentator. Yes, I don't know whether... Hello? There's somebody on the line? Okay, yes. Good afternoon.
Mr. Reuben Abati.
Yes, good afternoon. Your name, your location?
My question is, now, when Mr. President decide to prescribe the IPOP for not carrying guns and not carrying any weapons to prescribe them, but when it gets to these herdsmen are terrorizing, raping our women, you refuse to prescribe them. What is Nigerians? What are we going to do about it? That is number one question. Number two, don't you think that this misinformation from Garuba Shehu and Lai Mohammed, they need to the government need to do something about them. That is my two questions. God bless Nigeria.
Well, SAN, I'm sure you heard him.
I didn't quite get it. It's a bit not so clear from here. Please, if you can just quickly.
Well, the first question, you were saying all these men going about raping our women. I guess he's referring to herdsmen. What should Nigeria do about them? And then he says Garuba Shehu and Alhaji Lai Mohammed is very critical about them. He thinks that government should do something about them. What in specific terms he did not say.
Well, I don't think they're doing work for the government. So they did send themselves on the errand, so it's for us to more or less stomach them as, but I do know that even at the best of times, as Reuben, whoever that is spokesperson for the government is not a particularly popular, vocation, as it were. So, but I think with all due respect that having said that, Garuba Shehu in particular, and even Lai Mohammed, they take it a little bit, even beyond taking into consideration the unpopularity of the job, yes, but there are certain things they say that actually is like designed to provoke, anger. And the caller here is asking for them to be sanctioned, but I don't think anybody will sanction them, really. And then talking about the herdsmen raping, women and doing all sorts of things. My particular concern is that these herdsmen, people will tell you don't profile. Taraba State, you're dealing with herdsmen. In Zamfara, is this herdsmen fighting farmers? Is this herdsmen in Plateau? Is this herdsmen in Benue? Is this herdsmen in Enugu State? Is this herdsmen in Ogun State? Is this herdsmen? How about? We have a saying in my place that if you go for the 4 market days, because the traditional Igbo week is 4 and assigned to the 4 different markets, if you go to all those markets and you quarrel with everybody, either everybody is mad or you are mad. So every community in Nigeria, they're talking about herdsmen. And then you have the presidency and certain groups that will not come to really interrogate this problem. You see, we don't want a situation where it's as sad as it is. When the South is overrun, there won't be any sanctuary, because up in the North, sad enough, the North that I know, that you could go by 1 a.m., travel from Kano to Kaduna or Abuja back in the day, that the leaders of thought are not in their places. They're all hiding in Abuja. If we do not make a last stand to secure the South and then retrieve the North from the bandits who are holding sway there, we won't have a country. So it is not just a question of political correctness. Those bandits causing mayhem in the forest, in the Southwest, that has given rise to the Igbo to become a hero, it is because the government has been totally absent from duty. That is the truth.
Okay, SAN, we have another caller on the line.
Then you have all these people start.
Hello.
So
Please hold on 1 second.
Has been absent.
I'm senior advocate, Mr. Chijioke. My name is Somi Uranta. I've been listening
Uranta on the line.
Hello.
Somi Uranta, please go ahead.
Yes. Okay, yes, sir. I've been listening to the senior advocate talking, and what comes to mind is the fact that Nigeria seems to have 2 laws. One for the South and the other law for the North. Because when I read the account of, I even saw the pictures of Sheikh Gumi when he was going into the enclaves of the bandits. So one begins to wonder, how can we be doing this with terrorists? As if the military do not know where these people reside, do not know how they operate. If we continue with this manner, I doubt if we ever come out of this insecurity problem. Let the government wake up to their responsibility, go after these people and stop them from killing Nigerians. Please, because if this thing is happening in the Niger Delta, they will roll out all necessary weapons to destroy them, just like they did to the IPOB. It's unfair. We should have a law that serves everybody. If the law is discriminatory, then it cannot achieve any end. Thank you.
SAN, I hope you heard him. Somi Uranta. Hello? Did you get the point Somi Uranta was making?
Yes. Reuben. Hello?
Hello, I'm with you.
Yes.
Hello, please go ahead.
As difficult as it is, that perception, reality is nothing if not perception. So when people perceive lopsided like what he has said, you go to Olu, some people just, if you ask me, a gregarious, excitable young person, then you bring the army to hold down largely innocuous people in the southeast and everything. And you wonder if you have these army people to spare to disturb people, some set of people. It's not that the populace is complaining. They draw this conclusion as infuriating as what IPOP does, or it will irritate some people. You do not have the general populace complaining that IPOP has largely made life impossible for them. During the elections, what they were saying is that, oh, don't go and vote. I'm president of League of Anambra Professionals. I countered it. I said, no, you go and vote. But they were not forcing people not to vote. Now, but you have army cracking down on them and killing them. But the same army will not go to Ibaraka and all the places in southwest and where people are complaining that the herdsmen cannot let us go to our farm. Those army are absent, where people are complaining that some stranger elements have taken control of their forests and nothing will be done. Then you have some people, you may not like them or they are very irritating, but the point remains is that the populace where those people are operating have not complained. Yet the army goes there, kills people, but will not be found where people are complaining. So that gives the point what he's saying about two laws operating or different rules of engagement. And unless and until the presidency wins itself of this, we're going to have a problem. We already have so much problem. It is how we're going to extricate ourselves from that. That is the bigger issue.
We have another caller on the line. Please go ahead. Your name, your location, and your comment or question.
Good afternoon, Doctor. I'm Abiodun Adeni. I'm based in Abuja.
Okay, Dr. Adeni, thank you for joining us.
Yes. I'm just concerned if you actually think that they are not some of the fundamental contradictions, busting out through criminalities are requiring some more fundamental solutions rather than the simple resort to arm bearing in a situation where even more sophisticated countries like New Zealand, like the UK, are moving out of it. And in a situation where the United States, for instance, is also worried about it, despite the recommendations of or the prescriptions of the First Amendment. Do you not think some more fundamental contradictions that we need to resolve rather than the simple resort to arm bearing itself? Thank you. Back to you.
Yes, SAN Okoli, you had Dr. Adeni.
Yes, his point is well taken, but you see, extreme situations require extreme solutions. Again, let me tell you something. You can't use, with all due respect, what is happening in United States, United Kingdom and New Zealand. These are rather tame societies. We are living, the truth of the matter is that you are living just a step away from what you call the old wild, wild west. So, whilst, even if you say it's in the interim, you must allow some system. I'm not saying that you should have an unbridled access to arms to everybody, but I will tell you something. I'm actually putting my thoughts together so that we'll have a bill. What they do about it is another thing. But we can have a bill that will address some of these concerns, that you must get to up to a particular age and have a particular, very stringent rules for you to have access to this arm. But the situation calls for it. Because, Reuben, let me tell you something. All criminal elements who need gun for nefarious activities get them. Then why would you or I at our age to just hold it not for anything, but if anybody is coming to kill or maim me, and as somebody pointed out here, to come and rape women in your house, that you should not make recourse to those things? No. The herdsmen, who most of them strolled into this country from different places, the Sahel, where they've been fighting, they have access to these things. The people who are armed robbers and locally brewed, they have access to sophisticated weapons. Then you at your level, you will not have them. You who can go through very stringent rules to ensure and to be responsible, to know what it means for you to bear those arms, they will not let you have it. No, something has to be looked at fundamentally.
Okay.
This is also without prejudice that, Reuben, let me say this. This is also without prejudice that the situation at hand calls for proper restructuring. Because where you're holding a Rotimi Akeredolu to ransom because of his legitimate plea that he wants to safeguard people under his jurisdiction, and then somebody's bearing down his neck in Abuja, it can't work. We ought to have state police. We know it is subject to abuse, but the abuse of this centralized police is far worse than what we get in those places. We can have checks and balances, federally control checks and balances to minimize the likely effect of state governors or other people using state police against their opponents. Yes, we know that is there, but the operation we have with herdsmen is far worse than the one that maybe the governor will say, go and lock this person up. The governor is not going to say, go and rape these women, go and kill them. But this is what we have as common fare today.
Well, SAN, Chijioke Okoli, will take another short break, commercial break, and then we come back to close the program. Please stay with us. Don't go away yet.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Listen.
Welcome back from that commercial break. And for those of you who are just joining us, you've been listening to City Talks with Reuben Abati on your number one lifestyle station, City 105.1 FM. And our guest is Chijioke Okoli, SAN, former chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, founding partner and chief counsel, Delphi Law Advisory, and the president of the Anambra League of Professionals. We take just one more intervention before we call it a day. Your name, your location, and please be brief. Hello? Did we lose that caller? Okay, it's back on. Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon, sir, Dr. Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Please be brief. We have just about 3 minutes to go.
You have a by calling from Ogun State. I want to ask, what is the relevance of the National Assembly, given the fact that they have the power of oversight on the executive arm? And we saw what happened in the 8th Assembly, where the National Assembly invited the service chiefs then. They refused, and the president did not cooperate with them. Even in this National Assembly, the same thing has happened, and we have seen the National Assembly pass vote of no confidence on the military for more than about 3 times now. Now, if we have a power that can go on an impeachment proceeding on the president that has not really performed in terms of providing the security, providing security for the people and their welfare, looking after their welfare, why are we just being partisan? Why are we not being objective? If at all we are serious people and want our democratic nation to be strengthened, should we not even invoke that? Good afternoon.
Okay, your point is clear. We don't have so much time. Is the National Assembly still relevant? That's his question.
Hello?
Hello, I said he's asking whether the National Assembly is still relevant, whether the National Assembly is doing what it's supposed to do.
I'm afraid to say that that question has become relevant. As sad as it is, that the question